Hey there, another beautiful morning, sunny, and elevating temperatures in Michigan. It's been pretty awesome. One of the things as we were out of the state the last two winters was I think the thought of winter and the lack of sun and the anticipation of going into that gloominess was way worse than it's actually been. So that's always nice when that happens. Look at this little stream here running underneath this bridge. It's so nice. But anyway, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is, especially since I turned 50, and hear all of the messages like it sucks getting old, and you start to fall apart, and all these different statements that people make. It's kind of part of the narrative, right? But I start thinking about that and actually questioning whether that is going to be true or not. And I think about like back when I had my first car. I bought it when I was like 15 years old and so ready to go out and drive it when I turned 16. But it was a 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit, and it was diesel, which was really interesting. Because it stunk really bad. It's not only smelled bad inside the cab, but anybody that rode behind me was going to be miserable. I think the technology probably wasn't to the point it is today where you can't really notice all that. And you also had to plug it in the wintertime because it had glow plugs instead of spark plugs. But I bought that car, worked my tail off to pay for it, and then proceeded to just drive it until it seized up and died. And when you're 15 or 16, 17 years old, you don't think about maintenance and the stuff that you need to do, checking the oil and all that stuff to keep it running, because you're just not even capable of that at that point. You're just excited that you have a car to throw your friends in and go around and have a good time. But I feel like from a health perspective, it's the exact same way. We go through our school period and we might be involved in activities and sports, and then once we're done, in our mind we shift to thinking, okay, now we have to go out and get a job. But then from that point, I don't know about you, but when I was in my 20s and probably most of my 30s, I treated my body kind of as if it was my 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit. And I didn't take care of it. I didn't walk. I didn't exercise. I ate really, really poorly. Felt like, it was almost a contest to see how much I could cram in my face every day. But it was just like I abused my body. And just like an engine in a car or whatever, over time, if you're not taking care of it, eventually it's going to break down. Now, I'm happy that I'm 53 and recognize this as a reality, and actually the fact that probably the last 6 or 7 years I've really made at least attempts at making health a priority, and maybe going off the rails a little bit and dialing it back. But I truly believe that going into my later 50s and 60s and 70s, the better I take care of this engine now, the better off I'm going to be. And obviously, there's a lot of different activities you can do to stay healthy and stay active. One of the newest things I've been hearing about a lot over the last several years is pickleball, which is something I definitely want to give a shot. When I go down to Florida, they are all playing pickleball. All the tennis courts are being converted into those smaller courts, and you don't have to chase the ball as much. It looks like kind of a fun sport. And it also looks like you get the younger folks who get out there and try to flex their athleticism, but the wiser, smarter, more experienced people are out there with very little wasted movement as they're making the other folks just waste all their energy. But yeah, there's pickleball. The activity that I really started to dig into and make my own is hiking. And it is a little bit cold this morning. But for about the last 8 years, literally, that's what I've been doing every single day. And I don't just look at it for, physical health, which is extremely important. I mean, if I'm not moving, those muscles are going to start to seize up. If you don't use them, you are going to lose them. And not that I have a lot of muscle, but man, I can walk a long way. And but even while I'm hiking, which is not giving me the impact that jogging used to have on my joints and all that stuff, but it gets me out and connected to the world. And so I feel like I'm not just getting a physical benefit from the long lasting aerobic activity of hiking through the trail, or as my friends say, you just walk. You try to make it sound cool, so you call it hiking. But there's a lot of mental benefit to it as well. I mean, me and my friend were talking. He does a lot of long distance biking, but we were talking about how it's really nice to get out there and go for a nice 3-hour period of time. And usually that first hour is spent sobbing at whatever problem you're struggling with or whatever negative thing, and you're just kind of letting it all out. That second hour, you really kind of spend your time sorting it out and identifying what the issue is or challenge that's causing it or how you're going to get it done. And then that third hour really is that planning time when you're out there, or you put together your plan on how you're going to go. And typically by the end of that long workout, you're fired up because you've already processed through, instead of doing it in a really slow way. But you're in a different environment, you're moving, you're thinking, those neurons are continuing to connect in those new experiences. But whatever it is, I think it's really important to make a focus on just taking care of the basics, and maybe I'll cover some of those later that I've identified as my basics that I need to take care of. But I think it's really, really important to intentionally handle that, because if we're looking to grow old gracefully and not buy into these silly statements like getting old sucks, we can control the variables we'll also control the grace at which we age. And I think that's exciting. But anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to continue to go on in this glorious sunny day and live my life a brand new way. Thanks. Talk to you later.